What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of the Undergrad Forum. Now, today's video is a continuation of our series as to what resources did I use for various medical school courses and how did I study for them. And today it's histology. Histo is a weird course, you have to admit. Some people call it like microscopic anatomy, but histology is an unusual course in that you're learning the microstructure of various organs in the cell. Interesting, yeah, I guess kind of. Not, it's not the coolest thing in the world, but it's important. You know, when you take path, you're looking at slides all day of pathology, and if you don't know what it looks like normally, you're gonna have a really tough time. So you have to get your eyes used to looking at histo slides, looking at cells, looking at biopsies of the liver, the kidney, the lungs, whatever, recognizing what it looks like, knowing the normal, and then second year you'll learn the path. So what resources did I use? As always, number one, hopefully you can say it at this point, use your lecture notes, use your core notes, whatever the school gives you. You have to be able to do well on your school exams to obviously progress to the next level. So get those done, just get them out of the way. So I use histo's not that hard of a course. I mean, it's not that intensive. So what did I use? Oh, look, BRS again. Okay, so this book was actually recommended by the school, oddly enough. But I guess it must be that reliable of a text. So if you watch the video on how to prepare for physio, I refer to BRS Physio. This is the only other BRS book that I use. Everything else is made by someone else. And BRS Physio is what I use for histo. BRS Cell Bio and Histo is what I use for histo, not physio. And what do I like about it? Okay, so how does this work? Do you need to sit and buy a histology textbook and read it? If you want, I was lucky at my school. The lectures were really good. They were kind of like reading a chapter. So I didn't need to. The core notes were money and the lecture slides were great. And it was really focused on looking at slides and knowing what you're looking at and understanding the histo. So I got lucky with good lectures. If you don't have it, you can buy a textbook. Just go on Amazon, find one, find for good reviews. I don't know. I buy everything off Amazon because I'm cheap. But I mean, Amazon's gonna have good reviews anyways. And if you want this book, I'll put a link to Amazon for you if you want. But BRS, Cell Bio, and Histo is what I use. So you can't, unfortunately, with all these review books, you can't just open it and okay, I'll just start teaching myself histo. Good luck, right? Because it's very simple, like lines and sentences. It's very bullet pointy. Beautiful histo slides there. You really can't just pick it up and just try to teach yourself because it's a review book. And that's the point I was trying to make earlier. You need some primary resource to kind of learn the histo, get it in there, understand the concepts. Then you refer to this to see and ask yourself, do I know all the high yield content? Again, look how tiny this book is. It's like not that much bigger than my face, right? It's a small book, and that's kind of crazy to say. This little book is all the histo you need to know for medical school? Yeah, I know. Who would have thought, right? But that's what makes this really great. That study the material for your class and your lectures. Get ready for hopefully your school has like a practical section where you have to get looking at slides and answer test questions. And then refer to this to make sure you know all the high yield content, because you can learn from this if you've already learned the material through like a primary source. Then you just go back to this and you review. Hence the term a review text. And what's the point of this? I use this book. It has all my notes and my little funky little writings and my ideas in here, so that when it comes time to prep for like a shelf exam, like I had a histo final, we called it a shelf, and this is a book I only used. I didn't go back to lecture notes. I didn't go back to core notes. I mean, how are you going to read this much material when you're trying to prepare for an exam that's a couple days away while you have your other courses around as well? That's why you, in my opinion, for every class, get one review book that you like, stick with it, make your annotations, make your notes, then comes time for the shelf or comes time for step one, this is the book you're going to reference if you want something. You're comfortable with it, you have your notes, easy to work with. That's the big idea here. I mean, why even buy a board review book? Why not just stick with the lecture notes, take the test, and go on with your life? That's fine, but the problem is that once you come back and you say, okay, now I need to review for the final exam, or I need to review for step one, or whatever, it's going to be tough if you don't have a small little condensed region to go to that you've already seen before. If you just go pick up BRS and say you're preparing for step one, you just go pick it up, you've never looked at it before, yeah, you'll be fine. You can work your way through it. It'll take more time. But if you use it during the academic year, you're much more comfortable with it, and that's kind of the whole idea. Keeping yourself comfortable, having a reference text that you like. And that's the point. pick one that you like. It doesn't have to be BRS. It can be made by someone else. I just happen to like this one, and school recommended it, but I stuck with it. I liked it, and that's the only one I use now. So I didn't buy textbooks. My lectures were fine. But when it comes time to prepare for the shelf, I just use this. So that's where you can learn all the multiple choice questions. But what about slides? That's a very important part of histo. Just like in anatomy, the very important part was the practical, where you had to be able to go, and to look at the cadavers with the pin structures and identify them and know secondary and tertiary info. Similar thing for histo. They're going to show you slides, of tissue samples, biopsies, cell suspensions, whatever. You have to, one, be able to identify it, and of course, if you're very lucky, that'll be the question, but that never happens. Always secondary and tertiary question. And so I used a website called, what was it called? Histotime. It's a paid subscription. My school paid for it, so that's why I used it. I think it's owned by the University of Michigan. I'm not sure. But it's called Histotime. There are free ones online. I think there's a good university that has it online. I don't remember what it's called, but it's free, so you should check that one out. It's just like Histotime, actually. You don't have to pay. So just type in like online, like University of, I don't remember what it's called, but you can Google it. But it's like it's a web histology session where it just shows slides and it tells you what you're looking at and what you're supposed to see and what organ it is and etc. And it's a great thing to do. So what I would do is study the actual lecture notes, go through BRS. That's like my book knowledge, but then I would need to spend time in Histotime or that website trying to figure out, okay, so I need to get comfortable identifying structures on slides. So if I see a slide and like, oh, that's the liver, and here's how I know. Oh, that's the lung, and here are these important vessels. Or here's the kidney, and here's like the little glomeruli that I can see. These are important because when you come to second year path, you need to, one, just be able to quickly identify what you're looking at, and that's just expected. But then you have to figure out, oh, what's wrong with it? What's my pathology? So that's why histology is important. It comes back to bite you during path if you didn't try, or if you didn't if you don't remember it well. So spend time with the book knowledge, but definitely spend time with Histotime or whatever other source you can find to looking at slides, getting comfortable, identifying structures, and becoming mastering at looking at slides, because you'll see it on exams. When I took my shelf for histo, there was plenty of slides, as is expected with histo, and you have to be good at them. So it's pretty straightforward. No special study strategies for histo other than make sure you spend time with slides. Sticking with just pure book content will really put you at a disadvantage, because you may know the histo, but if someone shows you a slide on a question and your ability to identify the organ, identify exactly what you're looking at, if that's not there, you can miss the whole question. So that's the one tip for histo. Spend time looking at an atlas or slides or whatever it's called, and it's definitely worth it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm trying to keep them short and to the point. And if you have any questions, leave a comment below, leave a message, do whatever you want, leave a video reply. No one ever does that. And I'll look forward to responding to them. And as always, guys, enjoy your studies.